Ciao, and welcome to Immersion Travel Italy, where we don't just visit Italy, we experience it. I'm Katerina Ferrara, travel author and festival enthusiast, taking you behind the scenes to some of Italy's most unforgettable traditions. From candlelight processions through medieval streets to sizzling food festivals bursting with flavor, I'll share insider tips, hidden gems, and stories you won't find in any guidebook. So grab your espresso and let's dive into the heart and soul of Italy, one festival, one town at a time. Welcome back to Lago Maggiore. Today we're going to spend time on the central shores of the lake, back in Italy. In our first two episodes, we explored the northern stretch of the lake where Switzerland meets Italy and cultures intertwine. We discovered the alpine charm of Locarno and Ascona, their palm-lined promenades and open-air cafes glowing under the Ticino sun. We started in the south of the lake, the best connected and visited towns, including Stresa and Baveno, and the enchanting Borromine Islands, uncovering grand villas, island palaces, and gardens in full bloom. Together, these stories set the stage for today's voyage, deeper into the Italian heart of Lago Maggiore, where history, art, and la dolce vita flow together as effortlessly as the waters themselves. This is episode 3 of our Lago Maggiore series, and I'm Katerina Ferrara, your guide through Italy's culture and immersive travel moments. Today we'll continue into Verbania, Pallanza and Intra, where art and gardens intertwine with daily life. This is a place of color and calm, where Italian families gather for evening walks, where fishermen still cast their nets at dawn, and where every garden feels like a small world of its own. Our journey is going to begin in Pallanza, one of Lago Maggiore's most elegant lakefront towns, and home to one of the greatest gardens in Europe, the Villa Taranto. Pallanza is a lakeside jewel that forms part of the modern city of Verbania, but it still retains the charm of a 19th century town. The promenade stretches gracefully along the water, lined with magnolia trees and pastel villas. The view across the lake is breathtaking. The Borromine Islands shimmer in the distance, framed by the snowy peaks of Monte Rosa. Yet, the true heart of Pallanza lies just beyond the town center in the lush embrace of Villa Taranto, one of the most remarkable botanical gardens in the world. The story begins not with Italian count or a noble family, but with a Scottish captain, Neil Boyd McEacharn, who fell in love with Italy in the 1920s. He searched the entire country for the perfect spot to create his dream garden, and when he arrived here, overlooking Lago Maggiore, he knew he had found it. In 1931, McEacharn purchased the property known as Villa Taranto and began transforming it into a living masterpiece. He imported thousands of plant species from every corner of the globe, working closely with Italian gardeners to adapt them to the mild climate of the lake. The result was nothing short of extraordinary, a landscape that feels both natural and meticulously designed, filled with color, fragrance, and texture. Today, the gardens cover nearly 20 hectares and include over 20,000 varieties of plants from 5 continents. When we visited in mid-May, the azaleas, camellias, and magnolias were in full bloom, and there were still some tulips and rows of roses. Perhaps the most famous site is the Viale delle Conifere. This is a grand avenue lined with towering conifers that lead down toward the lake, or the dahlia maze with more than 1,700 dahlia plants that bloom from July through October in a dazzling explosion of color. In every direction, there is harmony between wild nature and human care, between the lake and the mountain, and between Italy's passion and Scotland's precision. Visitors often describe the Villa Taranto as more than a garden, instead a sanctuary. It's not uncommon to see painters quietly sketching by the ponds, couples walking hand in hand, or travelers simply sitting on a bench and watching the light shift through the trees. McEacharn himself is buried here in a small mausoleum overlooking the lake, a fitting resting place for a man who gave his heart to this beautiful garden. When you stand here surrounded by flowers and silence, it's easy to understand what he must have felt, that rare sense of peace that only comes when nature and art meet perfectly. Spring, of course, is tulips and cascades of wisteria. Summer fills the gardens with dahlias, roses, and tropical blooms, and autumn paints the leaves gold and crimson, reflecting on the lakes like a watercolor. Whenever you visit, go early in the morning or late in the afternoon. That's when the paths are the quietest, when the light is the softest. Beyond the gardens, Pallanza itself deserves time to explore. Its historic center is small but full of character. cobblestone alleys, painted balconies, and small piazzas where locals gather over an espresso. At the heart of the town stands the Church of San Leonardo, whose 16th century bell tower rises above terracotta roofs like a sentinel. Inside, faded frescoes and marble altars whisper centuries of devotion. The lakefront promenade is one of the loveliest on Lago Maggiore. Cafes line the water, shaded by plane trees, and every evening just before sunset, the locals come out for their passeggiata, the traditional Italian evening stroll. There's no rush, no reason, just movement, conversation, and the shared joy of being outside in the golden light. For dining, Pallanza offers plenty of choices. And remember, on my website, katerinaferrara.com, under blogs, I have all of these listed for you with the episode. The Osteria degli Specchi, facing the lake, serves refined dishes like risotto with mountain herbs or grilled lake fish paired with Piemontese wines. And nearby, the Ristorante Milano offers a beautiful terrace with views of Isola Madre shimmering in the distance. If you stay overnight, Pallanza rewards you with calm mornings and sunsets that seem to linger. The air cools, the water stills, and the light on the opposite shore begin to flicker like candles. The Villa Taranto is closed to the public. It serves today as an administrative center for the gardens. The exterior is a striking sight. Its neoclassical architecture mirrors the ornamental lake below. Captain McEacharn actually lived here until his death in 1964, tending to the gardens personally and leaving strict instructions that they remain open to the public after his passing. Walk behind the villa to find the Winter Garden, and nearby stands the Victoria House, home to the giant Victoria amazonica, an enormous water lily from South America, whose leaves can grow over 1 meter in diameter. McEacharn was the first in Europe to cultivate it successfully outdoors thanks to Lago Maggiore's unique microclimate. For a more secluded experience, follow the upper path, which climbs toward a shaded hillside. From here, there are viewpoints that open across Lago Maggiore. As far as events and local experiences, each year Villa Taranto hosts 2 major seasonal highlights. Tulip Week, which is held in April, has over 80,000 tulips that burst into bloom across the park. Tulip beds ripple with color like woven silk. The Mostra delle Dahlias is from July to October, and the garden transforms again with thousands of dahlias in every shade imaginable. It's one of Europe's largest dahlia collections, and gardeners from around the world come to draw inspiration. Between the peaks, Villa Taranto offers quiet pleasures. Spring walks among the magnolias, summer concerts by the lake, and small educational tours reveal how the garden's irrigation system, originally designed by McEacharn himself, still operates nearly a century later. After exploring, pause at the Garden Cafe near the exit. It overlooks the small pond and lotus blossoms, an ideal spot for a light lunch. Try the handmade torta di nocciole, a soft hazelnut cake typical of Piedmont. If you'd like to bring a bit of the garden home, the shop sells seeds and bulbs collected from the estate. Villa Taranto is open daily from March to November and plan to spend 2 hours. Parking is available just outside the entrance, and from the ferry terminal, it's about a 20-minute lakeside walk. Taranto and Pallanza embody what makes Lago Maggiore so special, that delicate balance between grandeur and gentleness. Next, we're going to explore Intra, the vibrant heart of Verbania. Bustling, colorful, and down-to-earth, Intra feels more like a lived-in Italian town than a resort, a place where fishermen mend their nets by the docks, shopkeepers sweep their doorways at dawn, and the rhythm of the lake mingles with the hum of daily life. Here, Lago Maggiore feels more human. Verbania, as it exists today, is actually the union of 2 separate towns, Pallanza and Intra. They merged in 1939 to form a single municipality stretching along one of the most scenic parts of the western lakeshore. Yet, each side has kept its own personality. Pallanza, with its stately villas and manicured gardens, has long been the refined side, favored by artists, aristocrats, and travelers. Intra, on the other hand, has always been the industrious one. Intra was historically a center of trade, shipbuilding, and textiles. Its natural harbor made it a great crossroads between Lombardy, Piemonte, and Switzerland. Even today, this heritage lives on, not through factories, but through markets, ferry routes, and a vibrant town center that pulses with energy and community. The ferry hub of Lago Maggiore. Standing in Intra's waterfront in the early morning and you'll see it come alive. Ferries glide in and out, linking Italy's western and eastern shores to Laveno, Mombello, to Luino, and to the smaller villages tucked beneath the hills. Commuters board for work, travelers disembark for a weekend, and delivery boats unload boxes of produce and flowers from local farms. Intra's historic center is compact, a tangle of medieval lanes and 19th century facades radiating from Piazza San Vittore, named for the town's patron saint, Saint Victor. The square is small but full of life, children playing near the fountain, locals sipping espresso at the outdoor tables, and the smell of warm bread drifting from the bakery nearby. Dominating the square is the Basilica of San Vittore, rebuilt in the 18th century over an older foundation. Its tall, elegant bell tower is visible from the lake, a beacon for returning boats. Step inside, and the church offers a cool hush after the noisy streets, frescoes glowing softly under natural light, a marble altar polished smooth by centuries of prayer. Just a few blocks away, Intra has a Saturday market that takes over the streets. It's one of the largest and liveliest on Lago Maggiore. Vendors set up stalls before sunrise, filling them with local cheese, honey, olives, cured meats, and colorful produce from the valleys nearby. It's a feast for the senses. You might find some cherries, rosemary, or focaccia in the market. Markets like this are a tradition here in Italy. If you want to feel the pulse of the lake, come here on a Saturday morning. Buy a wedge of Toma cheese or a paper cone of roasted chestnuts and wander around. A town between nature and industry, Intra's location gave it both opportunity and resilience. Nestled at the mouth of the San Giovanni River, it became one of the first towns on the lake to industrialize in the 19th century. But where factories once stood, you'll now find parks, walking paths, and artisan shops that have reclaimed those spaces. The Passeggiata della Beata Giovinina is one of the most scenic walks, a lakeside promenade named for the local saint who devoted her life to the poor. The path winds along the water, shaded by pine trees and lined with benches, perfect for pausing to watch the ferries cross. It's here that locals stroll in the evening, arm in arm, gelato in hand, watching the sun turn from gold to pink over the Alps. Despite its industrial past, Intra feels peaceful and balanced. To experience Intra like a local, shop for lunch or an aperitivo at one of the small trattorie tucked into the side streets. The dishes here are simple and full of flavor. Handmade pasta with porcini mushrooms, creamy risotto with lake herbs, or tappolone, a slow-cooked minced beef stew that originated nearby. For a light bite, with a view, try the Osteria degli Specchi overlooking the waterfront. Their lake perch with lemon and herbs pairs perfectly with local wine. Or visit the Caffè Maggiore, a local favorite where mornings begin with cappuccinos and conversations. Evenings in Intra are quieter than Stresa or Ancona. Fewer tourists, more locals, more leisurely. Here, beauty doesn't demand attention. It reveals itself slowly in small gestures and familiar scenes. And perhaps that's the true heart of Verbania. Not just grandeur and gardens, but simple life here on the lake. Practical tips. Before we leave the central shores of Lago Maggiore, let's take a few minutes to talk about how you plan the visit here. Verbania lies on the Piedmont shore of Lago Maggiore, about 90 minutes from Milan by train. From Milano Centrale, you'll take the route to Domodossola and get off at Verbania, located just a short taxi ride or bus ride from the lakefront. If you're driving, follow the A26 Autostrada, exiting at Baveno, the same scenic route that winds towards Switzerland. Parking is straightforward. Both cities offer public lots near the ferry docks, and some hotels provide free passes for guests. Once you're here, ferries and footpaths become your best companions. The Navigazione Lago Maggiore network connects Verbania with Stresa, Baveno, and even across the lake to Loveno in Lombardy. Insider tip. For us, it was easiest to purchase the day pass, and that way it's sort of a use as you wish. A multi-day pass is also available. It saves money and allows you to hop on and off the boats freely without keeping a rigid schedule. Where to stay? Pallanza is ideal for travelers who want elegance and serenity. The Grand Hotel Majestic sits right on the water with Belle Epoque Grace and a private pier, perfect for morning swims or sunset aperitivos. Intra, by contrast, feels authentic and lively. The Hotel San Gottardo just steps from the ferry, or you can stay at Il Chiostro, a restored monastery, with tranquil courtyards hidden behind stone walls. For garden lovers, consider the timing of your stay and consider a villa or B&B near Villa Taranto. Where to eat? Food around Verbania reflects the connection of the mountain and the lake. Expect fresh local ingredients, local wines, and recipes that are simple. In Pallanza, I mentioned the Osteria degli Specchi facing the water. Their risotto al merlot is delicious. You can also try the lake trout. In Intra, head to La Tavernetta or Trattoria Concordia, both beloved by locals. Order the polenta concha, rich with butter and mountain cheese, or the tapolone, a hearty stew said to have been created by starving soldiers centuries ago with the only meat they could find, donkey. Now it's replaced with beef in modern kitchens. 4. A sweet pause tried the pasticceria Giudici, known for its hazelnut pastries and delicious fruit tarts. And don't miss the gelato alla camellia. Yes, it's made with camellia petals, fragrant tribute to the lake and its gardens. The best times to visit are April through June and then September through early October. This spring brings flowers. Summer is vibrant, perfect for evening concerts and open-air dining, but a bit busier and warmer. If you come in September, the crowd's thin, the lake remains warm, and the gardens glow in the softer light. Even winter has its charms. Crisp air, quiet streets, and locals reclaiming their piazzas, a time when you feel part of the community. Immersion travel tips. Start early. Mornings on Lago Maggiore are pure magic. The air is still, and the lake reflects all of the mountains around. Pack light layers during the spring and fall because it can be chilly in the morning and then warmer or hot in the afternoon. And talk to the locals. Locals love to talk about Captain McEacharn's eccentricities. They talk about the floods that once reshaped their shorelines, and they also taught us some local recipes. In Verbania, it's where art and industry and nature come together. Standing at the ferry dock at sunset, watching the water shimmer with gold, you'll realize this is the lake's center, not just in geography, but in spirit. In our next episode, we're going to journey south along Lago Maggiore, following the curve of the lake toward Arona and Angara, 2 towns facing one another across the water, each crowned by castles and legends. We'll walk the ramparts of the castle, the Rocca di Angara, and we'll visit the colossal statue of San Carlo Borromeo. We'll uncover stories of medieval rivalry and devotion that shaped the lake's southern shores. It's an episode filled with history, faith, and beauty. I'm Katerina Ferrara, and you've been listening to the Immersion Travel Italy podcast. For itineraries, travel inspiration, and my ultimate festival and travel guide series, including Sicily, Puglia, Rome and beyond, Venice and the Veneto, and now Milan, visit KaterinaFerrara.com. Until next time, keep wondering, keep savoring, and keep immersing yourself in Italy. Ciao.